Well, hello. This is another quick video to show you how this stuff works, the RIT color remover. I have a longer video, just more elaborate probably, the first one I did, showing you how I lightened clothes and everything using this. I posted that a year ago maybe, so I'll link that in the description below because it is more detailed. I'm just noticing on camera, these look a lot whiter than they actually are. They're pink. Let me find something actually white to show you. So this random sticker, the white part on the sticker is pretty white. Everything turned out pink. And do you know why it turned out pink? Actually, let me show you. I had dyed a pair of sweatpants with this mixed with a little bit of this purplish color. Long story short, if you dye anything with RIT dye, especially red dye, it doesn't matter if you go through the processing, if you've had this article of clothing and washed it 3 or 4 times, it will continue to bleed because that's what happened. These sweatpants I've had them for a while. I've washed them a good 3 or 4 times since I dyed with this, and it was very mild, but it will bleed even if you wash in cold water or anything. So fair warning, if you dye anything with this RIT dye, and especially the red, and I mixed it, like I said, with a little bit of purple, it's going to dye the rest of your clothes, especially whites, in the same laundry. Even if you wash with cold water, take all the precautions, it's still going to bleed out onto your clothes. So that's exactly what happened. You can kind of see how it looks pink, but I'm telling you, in person, these are like a pale baby pink. I'm not sure why on camera right now they seem to be looking pretty white. This is a hoodie, a white hoodie, and the material, since this matters to some people as well, this is 85% cotton, 15 polyester. Okay, and this is a random kind of like sports bra. This is 95 cotton, 5 spandex. One of my go-to shirts, 60 cotton, 40% modal. I don't know what the sock is. I'm guessing whatever typical sock is. And this shirt I was so sad about because this shirt was this bright white, and it's now like a pale pink. So 60 cotton, 40 polyester. People are always concerned if this color remover will also remove graphics, and it doesn't. It does not remove graphics or designs typically, which you will see because this has a graphic on it, and I also have a random towel. And this water is boiling that we're going to use, so I'm going to just turn it down because, as you know, you don't want it to be boiling too much. And here's the RIT color dye. Again, what we do, it's a packet of stuff, and I also put a fan over here and have a door open because it does have a pretty powerful smell. So what you do is you dump this into the water, ideally just hot, so I really kind of have to have it cool down now. You want it to be kind of just before it looks like it's going to boil, and you stir it up so that this disintegrates within the water. And then we start putting in the clothing articles, which I think I'm only going to be able to fit a couple at a time. Oh, and by the way, I did, just to test it out, I soaked this stuff in hot water with a huge heaping scoop of OxyClean, and it did not make any difference whatsoever. So that's why I always have this stuff on hand, and it's typically on sale. I'll link it on Amazon in the description below, but like today I got it from Joann Fabrics, and it was buy one get one 50% off. I got 4 just to have spares on hand because I'm only going to end up using 1 today. Yeah, it's totally worth it, and you'll see why. So I'm going to kind of set these apart and take a before picture of them to show for the thumbnail and when this video is done, and then I will be right back as I'm putting them in the water. Okay, so you can see the water has simmered down. You want it to be around 200 degrees, no more than that. I do have a kitchen thermometer, but I have done this so many times I know that this is gonna work. I cut this open. You know what it smells like? And I mentioned this in the other video. It smells like perm chemicals. So that is in there. And then I like to use tongs because they are easier once you put the articles of clothing in. And this is my method of choice. Ideally, you would want a bigger saucepan pot, but this is the biggest one I have, so this is why I kind of have to do it in phases. So, well, we'll see what we can fit. So I'm just going to put this guy in first, like so. Just let that go in there. And you can almost, especially with something like this, look, it's like already white. I won't have to keep these in there that long. In the other video, I wasn't rescuing, well, I was rescuing some clothes, but because this is just the dye, see, I put it in like this, and I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but the pink is gone, like as soon as I put them in. And I think it's because it is that dye. Maybe you could tell with this sock. See that? As soon as it saturates. Look, it's white again. So I typically leave things in for about 20 minutes, but again, that's because I've been trying to remove color that I purchased the articles of clothing in. Yeah, I think I'll just maybe do, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. I mean, if you look at it, that's all, I mean, that's it. So something like this, and as mild as this was, you could probably get away with the washing machine method. They have all of the instructions are here. You know, maybe this would have been a good opportunity to show you how to do the washing machine method using the color remover. You definitely don't want to bleach, but I was about to say OxyClean did not do a thing. Bleach will just really damage the fibers in the clothing. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes, and I think I'm gonna take these out in a minute because they lightened up really, really quickly. You want to make sure that you don't overstuff it. So this was kind of the perfect amount. I definitely could not have put that cropped hoodie in here at the same time. So the next thing I'm going to do, and the next thing that you would do, because I'm in my kitchen and my washer is in another room, I have a bucket ready to go there. I'm going to throw on some rubber gloves, and I will just take one by one, put it in the bucket. I'm going to squeeze it out with the rubber gloves into the bucket and actually pour whatever water is squeezed out back in here because I still need to do that cropped hoodie. And the directions tell you, and they suggest they say you can keep the water if you still want to do more color remover, but they suggest putting in another packet. But what I found is whatever is in here, especially for something like this, is efficient for, you know, to remove the color from another article of clothing, which we're going to throw in this cropped hoodie and that towel. Okay, so what I ended up doing, I put on my gloves and I ended up bringing this bucket right next to the saucepan, and I lifted it, and with my gloves, I actually I let it cool for a moment or two, and then I actually wrung out the articles of clothing on top of this. If you spend a lot of time in the kitchen and cooking, and basically you can tolerate holding really hot things through the rubber gloves, because clearly it's still excruciatingly hot, then you can like kind of wring it out and let your hands rest and wring it out. So that's what I did instead of wringing it out in here and pouring it back in. So these are wrung out. I did not rinse these yet because I figure I'll just go ahead and rinse these at the same time as this, which I should put more water in here. Again, ideally, a larger pot would be better, but we're working with what we got here. And by the way, if you didn't notice, it did not affect the graphics at all. Well, this is the only one I've done so far with the graphic, but the graphic is fine. The shirt looks white again. So I'm going to go ahead, fill this up with some more water, and then put the hoodie and towel in here. Maybe not. I don't really care about the towel. We'll see how the hoodie fits. I think I have to turn up the heat a little bit. Oh, and if you hear a little ambient noise, the fan is on now. I realized I did not turn it on before, but you can even kind of see the difference. Like this part, look, it hasn't touched the water yet. It has a pink tinge to it. Okay. Gonna have to give it a good mix. That was hot water just from the sink. Yeah, that towel clearly is not going to fit. And this one, again, already looks white super quickly, but I will leave this in for like 10 minutes, only because it is a little bit diluted and I didn't add another packet, but you'll see it still works. This is still effective. Let's see. We will be back in 10 minutes, and I'm just going to keep doing this with this one just because it is pretty packed in there, and I want to make sure that everything gets nice and evenly saturated and white. It's been about 10 minutes. I brought this trusty bucket back over here, and I'm gonna throw my gloves on and do the same thing that I did with those. And I won't film the towel if I do it. You'll see at the end if I do. But basically, once I wring that out and put it in here, I'm going to swish this with warm water, and then gradually with cool water, squeeze, 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 put it in the washer, wash regular cycle with typical, I use fragrance-free, gentle, dye-free type detergent. I can't stand the smell of laundry detergent or fabric softeners or anything like that. So what works, because some people have asked if you find that, you know, your clothes still smell like this color remover after you wash and dry them, I suggest what has worked for me, because it does not smell at all once I'm finished, is to wash it with your detergent, whatever detergent you want, and put the OxiClean, a scoop of OxiClean in the wash before it starts. And what I always use as a fabric softener option, but what helps to neutralize any smells, any odors, any, you know, the smell of perm, which is basically what this smells like, is just plain distilled white vinegar. I pour that where the fabric softener goes. Not only does it help to keep your washer squeaky clean so you don't have that gross residue that sometimes people get and it molds up and stuff when you actually use that liquid fabric softener, but it helps to neutralize and soften towels, for example, but to neutralize any smells so that it smells like nothing. So that's what I do. Detergent, scoop of OxiClean, and distilled white vinegar as your fabric softener. Wash regular cycle, throw everything in the dryer, and then we will be back to see the final results. A quick tip I just forgot to mention, there's no reason you should be doing the squeezy out scenario that I'm doing if you have enough water and if you're just doing one batch. But because I'm, you know, putting things in and then continuing to do them, just make sure if you do wring it out that your elbows are higher than your hands. Because if you don't, then whatever you wring out is going to drip down your elbows to the floor and, you know, it'll make a mess. So just a little tip. Okay, moving on real fast. I did decide to put this towel in here because look, enough water left. It's not that important to me, so we're just kind of doing this as an experiment to see not only how many things you can do, or how many batches, I guess is a word we can use, but also to see if it lightens this towel, which clearly it's going to. Something I didn't do, just for the sake of sound in this video, you have to do this, and I mentioned this in my previous video showing you this, but make sure you're doing this in a ventilated area. Like I said, I have a fan going, door open, so it goes out that door, but make sure if you have a fan, you know, stovetop vent fan, that you turn that on full blast. Don't put your face over this. Really try not to inhale it. Wouldn't hurt to wear a mask probably. And if you don't have a ventilated area and it's something super mild like this, then you can just follow the directions for the washing machine method in order to remove any bleeding better on your clothes. All right, here we are. Washed everything, threw everything in the dryer, and everything is back to bright white, and you can see it didn't do anything to the graphics on any of the materials, and I hope you can see the difference. Again, I feel like it didn't do it much justice filming it before, but the stuff was pink, so that's how it works. I highly suggest getting the Rit Color Remover, not associated with them at all. I'll also link that other video in the description, which may be more thorough, may have more detail, I can't really remember. I hope this video was helpful to show you how it worked and how well it works as an option alternative, and much better for the fabric compared to bleach, and much more effective compared to just using something like hydrogen peroxide or OxiClean, which did absolutely nothing. So yeah, I definitely suggest grabbing at least a box or two and just having it on hand. And I did actually check, and Walmart might have it, your Walmart, because I noticed that my Super Walmart actually did have it, but I grabbed it from Joann Fabric, and then other stores like Michael's and Hobby Lobby should have it, but I'll also link it available on Amazon below. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Say bye to Elvis. Bye.